The Boleyn sisters, intrigue, ambition, and the birth of Queen Elizabeth I. Step back in time to the glittering courts of Tudor England, a world of intrigue, ambition, and betrayal. This is the story of Anne and Mary Boleyn, two sisters whose fates were tied to one of the most famous kings in history, Henry VIII, and the birth of a queen who would change the course of history, Elizabeth I, the Boleyn family, and ambition. The Boleyn family was ambitious, driven by a desire for status and influence in the Tudor court. Thomas Boleyn, a shrewd and calculating courtier, used his position to secure opportunities for his children. Mary and Anne were introduced into the dazzling yet perilous world of King Henry VIII's court, where charm and wit could lead to great rewards or devastating downfalls. Mary, the elder sister, soon caught the king's eye with her gentle beauty and grace. She became his mistress, a role that brought her favor and attention, but also exposed her to the dangers of courtly intrigue and fickle royal affections. Anne enters the scene. But it was Anne Boleyn, with her wit, charm, and fiery determination, who truly captured Henry's heart. Unlike her sister Mary, Anne had a sharp mind and a commanding presence that set her apart in the royal court. She refused to be just another mistress to the king, boldly defying the conventions of the time. Instead, Anne aimed higher. She wanted the crown. She played a careful game, refusing Henry's advances while skillfully building his obsession, making herself indispensable to his desires and ambitions. Anne was not just pursuing power. She was reimagining what a queen could be, demanding respect and authority that few women of her era dared to seek. The king's obsession and the break from Rome. Henry's obsession with Anne led to one of the most dramatic and transformative events in English history, the break from the Catholic Church. For years, Henry had been growing increasingly frustrated with his lack of a male heir and the limitations imposed by the Pope. His marriage to Catherine of Aragon, though once politically advantageous, had become a source of personal and dynastic tension. When the Pope refused to annul the union, Henry, driven by love, ambition, and desperation, made a bold and unprecedented move. He declared himself the supreme head of the Church of England, effectively severing ties with Rome. This act not only enabled him to marry Anne, but also initiated profound changes that reshaped religion and politics in England forever. The repercussions of this decision would echo through the centuries, altering the very fabric of English society, Anne's coronation, and the birth of Elizabeth. In 1533, Anne ascended to the throne as Queen of England in a grand and symbolic coronation, signifying her triumph over court rivals and her role as Henry's chosen consort. The nation looked on with mixed emotions, some celebrating the union, others murmuring in discontent at the tumultuous path that brought her to power. Shortly after her coronation, Anne gave birth to a daughter, Elizabeth. Henry, desperate for a male heir to secure the Tudor dynasty, was deeply disappointed by the arrival of a girl. However, Anne remained steadfast, convinced that her daughter was destined for greatness. Little did Henry or Anne know that this child, born amidst controversy and high expectations, would grow up to become one of the most extraordinary monarchs in history, ushering in an era of unprecedented cultural and political achievements known as the Golden Age. Anne's downfall. Anne's reign as queen was tragically brief, marked by intense scrutiny and betrayal. Despite her intelligence, wit, and initial favor with the king, Anne's inability to provide a male heir became a significant point of contention. Her enemies at court, sensing Henry's growing impatience and vulnerability, orchestrated her downfall with ruthless precision. Accused of treason, adultery, and even witchcraft, a charge reflecting the deep-rooted fears and misogyny of the era, Anne faced a trial that was largely a formality. In 1536, she met her end at the Tower of London, maintaining her composure and dignity to the very last, leaving behind a legacy that would forever intertwine with the fate of England. Mary Boleyn's quiet life. Meanwhile, Mary Boleyn, who had once been at the centre of court intrigue and the subject of whispered rumours, lived a quieter and more secluded life, away from the turmoil of the royal court. After her time as King Henry VIII's mistress, she married William Stafford, a union that was based on love rather than political ambition. This decision cost her the favour of her family and the court, but it granted her a rare form of peace and stability. Mary settled into a modest life in the countryside, a sharp contrast to the glittering and perilous world she had left behind. She bore children and focused on her household, navigating the ever-present spectre of Tudor politics with caution and resilience. In an era where survival often depended on one's ability to adapt and remain inconspicuous, Mary's quieter existence was a testament to her determination to live on her own terms. Elizabeth's rise to power. After Anne's tragic death, her daughter Elizabeth was declared illegitimate and removed from the line of succession, an act that left her future uncertain and precarious. Stripped of her title and forced to navigate a court rife with political intrigue and hostility, Elizabeth spent her formative years observing the power struggles and dangers surrounding the Tudor throne. Her intellect and resilience, however, became her greatest strengths. Through careful alliances, strategic decisions, and an unyielding determination, she gradually restored her position within the royal court. In 1558, after years of turmoil and upheaval, Elizabeth ascended to the throne as Queen of England. Her reign would come to symbolize a golden age, marked by cultural flourishing, political stability, and the emergence of England as a dominant power on the global stage. Against all odds, Elizabeth transformed the stigma of her birth into a legacy of strength, guiding her nation with wisdom and unmatched vision. Legacy of the Boleyn sisters. The Boleyn sisters played pivotal roles in shaping the Tudor dynasty, their lives embodying the intertwined themes of ambition, resilience, and sacrifice that defined the era. Anne's unyielding determination to rise above her station and claim the crown challenged the norms of her time, forever altering the monarchy and paving the way for transformative change. Her bold vision and tragic demise left an indelible mark on English history. Mary's quieter, yet equally significant journey, marked by her survival amidst court intrigue and her pursuit of a simpler, more peaceful life, provided a contrast to the turbulence of the Tudor court. Together, their legacies converged to create the conditions that enabled the rise of Elizabeth I. A daughter born into controversy and uncertainty, Elizabeth would go on to redefine the very essence of leadership, guiding England into an unparalleled era of cultural and political achievement that resonates to this day. The story of the Boleyn sisters is one of ambition, love, and sacrifice, an enduring tale that speaks to the complex interplay of personal desires and historical destiny. Anne and Mary Boleyn were not just players in the drama of Tudor politics. They were individuals who lived, loved, and fought to carve out their place in a world dominated by male power. Their lives, filled with triumphs and heartbreaks, underscore the profound impact of women in shaping history, even in an age when their voices were often silenced. So next time you hear about Queen Elizabeth I, remember the sisters whose ambition and resilience not only altered their own fates, but laid the foundation for a golden age in English history.